All right, let's talk about getting rich. But forget everything you think you know about saving your pennies or playing the stock market. Today, we're cracking open the playbook from self-made millionaire Felix Dennis. And let me tell you, it is brutally honest. Wow, right off the bat, Dennis just lays it all out there, doesn't he? This one quote tells you everything you need to know about his unfiltered approach. For him, money wasn't some abstract goal. It was a primal, gut-level need. If you don't have it, nothing else even matters. So yeah, if you're looking for warm, fuzzy advice about following your passion and changing the world, this ain't it. What we're diving into is a cold, hard look at the pure mechanics of amassing wealth. Think of it as the rule book for a game that, frankly, most people are just too scared to even play. Which brings us to his first big, uncomfortable truth. And it's a bombshell that pretty much challenges the entire reason most people say they want to get rich in the first place. It has absolutely nothing to do with being happy. He just completely severs the two ideas, the quest for wealth and the quest for happiness. According to Dennis, they're two totally different journeys. In fact, he's pretty clear that the process of getting rich is often grueling, miserable, and demands sacrifices that most sane people just aren't willing to make. So if happiness isn't the fuel, what is? Well, Dennis is crystal clear. Just wanting to be rich, that's completely useless. You need what he calls a compulsion, an undeniable, obsessive, almost irrational urge to win at any cost. That's the engine. That's what's going to keep you going when everything and everyone is telling you to quit. But even if you have that fire in your belly, Dennis believed there's one giant psychological wall that stops almost everybody dead in their tracks. And that wall is fear. And here's the absolute core of it. Get this. It's not the fear of losing your money. It's the fear of public humiliation. It's the fear of what your friends, your family, your neighbors are all going to say when you inevitably fall flat on your face. Dennis says if you can't get over that, you've already lost the game. So he lays out what he calls the price of entry with this really stark checklist. And it's a direct challenge right to you. Are you really willing to fail in front of everyone? Can you actually handle the stress you're gonna cause your loved ones? And can you really truly treat this whole demanding quest like it's just a game? This right here is the real barrier to entry. It's not about your business plan. It's not about your IQ. It's about your internal fortitude. Dennis is basically forcing you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I actually willing to pay this price? For real? Okay, so let's say you've got the guts. You're ready to pay the price. Now it's time for action. And this is where Dennis just completely demolishes one of the biggest myths in business, the myth of the great idea. He even puts a number on it, which I've loved, just to hammer the point home. A great idea, he says, is worth about 1 unit. But flawless execution of just a decent idea, that's worth 1,000. All the value, all the money, it's in the doing, not the dreaming. And you know what? This idea is so freeing. It means you don't have to be some visionary genius. Dennis insists you can get phenomenally wealthy by just watching what your competitors are doing right, and then just doing it better, faster, and way more efficiently than they are. And to make sure you nail that execution, he outlines 5 fatal traps to avoid. We already covered number 1, mixing up simple desire with real compulsion. The others are just as brutally pragmatic. Being totally naive about your cash flow, stubbornly sticking with what isn't working, thinking small, and, this one's critical, being cheap when you desperately need to hire top-tier talent. But once you have that amazing talent, how do you keep them without giving away the farm? Well, this brings us to maybe the most hardcore, dogmatic pillar of his entire strategy. Ownership is everything. For Dennis, this was completely non-negotiable. I mean, he could not be any clearer. This is the absolute heart of his financial strategy. While everyone else is talking about partnerships and stock options, Dennis believed that giving away even a single share of your company was a cardinal sin. Now look, he wasn't a cheapskate, not at all. He believed in rewarding your top people generously, with cash. We're talking huge bonuses, a slice of the annual profits, respect, big promotions, but he drew a very, very hard line at equity. The company itself was never, ever up for grabs. So the formula is just simple and ruthless. You hire people who are way smarter than you delegate everything you possibly can, and then you motivate them with massive financial rewards tied directly to profits.
It keeps them focused, it keeps them happy, and you retain 100% control and ownership of the whole thing.
So you've built the business, you own it all. What's the final move? That's the end game, cashing out. Because for Dennis, the purpose of this whole game was never to be a manager for the rest of your life.
He was adamant about this. Never, ever fall in love with your company. It is a vehicle designed to get you rich, period. That's its job. You sell when a buyer can still see plenty of room for growth. You sell the second you start to get bored. And you always, always sell before the inevitable decline starts to set in. And then, after this entire ruthless journey of acquiring and owning and winning, his philosophy takes this final, really surprising turn. After you've won the game, his advice was to give the winnings away. He believed that hoarding wealth just makes you fearful, but giving it away keeps you sharp, keeps you focused on the next game. So, that's the Felix Dennis method. It's pragmatic, it's unsentimental, and it is incredibly focused. He didn't see the pursuit of wealth as a life purpose, but as a game with a very specific set of rules. Which leaves one last provocative question for you. Are you ready to play?